Alex703 Rockstar, and I am back, and I know another camera angle, whatever. I'm back with another album review, a classic album review. I haven't done one of these in a long time, and It's All About Music reminded me of this album yesterday, although coincidentally I was actually listening to it that same day earlier. But he inadvertently made me want to review it, and that album is Sublime's third album, Sublime. Now, this album will inevitably be remembered as Sublime's swan song, but that's mainly because it was released a couple months after the death of singer Bradley Nowell. Now, there's some really interesting stuff on this album, and you could tell that his creative flair was big, but it hadn't fully reached its pinnacle on this album. And I feel like if he would have lived longer, he would have really done some more experimental stuff, would have gone out in different directions. But the way they mix different sounds here is really impressive. They're able to mix reggae, hip hop, funk, and California punk rock from the 90s. And I find that really impressive. The mesh of styles is not easy to pull off, and they do it well. Sometimes they sound like Bob Marley, sometimes they sound like Rancid, sometimes they sound like Jimi Hendrix, and sometimes they sound like some of the weirder tracks from the Beastie Boys. So there's so many different things that they could sound like. But in general, the vibe is really, really chilled out. This is perfect summer music. Awesome waking up to this music. Perfect druggy music too, like weed music. And the lyrics on this are hilarious sometimes, especially on the awesome track "Caress Me Down," where he switches from Spanish to English in one of the weirdest sort of pro-sex rhymes I've ever heard. It's really weird. It's really awesome though. This album can get a little tedious when they decide to go into a little more of their dub elements, and they sort of will sometimes just drag a loop or a hook out over 4, 5, 6 minutes, and sometimes it can be like, okay, that's a little too much. It's a 60-minute album, which I feel is a bit too long, and they could have gotten their point across in less time. However, since he was dead before the album was released, I think they wanted to release as much material as possible, sort of get his music out there. I don't think it ever has as big of a hit as 40 Ounces to Freedom or Date Rape, which I think is the best Sublime song ever. But it does have their most famous song, which is What I Got, which is an awesome little hook that I bet you've heard in a billion coming-of-age movies. So, there's some interesting stuff here, and I feel like this album is rated higher than it should be because of his unfortunate death, but it still happens to be a very good album. Although there are some pointless holdbacks, like the reprise of What I Got that's longer than the original song, it's like, okay, you just essentially have the same song twice on the album. But I'm really happy I was able to pick this up, and for $3, it's quite a bargain. It sucks that Sublime never, became anything bigger, but it's also possible that they could have turned into 311, or they're just retreading similar topics. So, who knows? I'll just leave you with this song, and I can give this album, under my new rating system, a 7.5 out of 10, which is extremely strong under my new rating system. Don't forget.